I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about, will my ex move on if I go no contact? That is a really, really scary subject.
Yes, it is, and it comes up very often.
It really does. I think it's probably one of the most asked about questions that we get.
Yes.
And we've alluded to it in other videos, but I thought we'd address it today in its own video for you guys, because I got an email about it recently and I thought we should talk about it. Let me just get to this email real quick.
Okay.
Somebody sent this. They said, "Hi Craig and Margaret, I've been watching your channel for the last few months, mostly every day." We get that a lot, right?
Yeah. How lovely.
"Some of your presentations I watch 2 or 3 times before I digest what you're saying."
Okay.
Which absolutely makes sense, because a lot of the stuff we teach is more advanced than you would learn in a lot of school programs.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, we're giving you material that we've learned and kind of digested.
And as many of you guys have said to us and seen for yourself, you oftentimes will find yourself a local therapist and you compare them to us and you're disappointed.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if that's the case, it's still helpful to continue to go to your local therapist.
Absolutely do it. We recommend it.
Yeah, even if they don't have the knowledge or the understanding, because nobody's going to understand the breakups like we do. But just having somebody to talk to every week will help.
And we're not leaving the planet if you want to check in with us.
Of
You're
course.
welcome to do that.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let me go on. They said, but it has helped me a lot. However, I still worry that if I go no contact, my partner will just move on. So I don't know if I should continue to reach out, or if so, how. He said he doesn't know what he wants right now. I'll be booking some coaching soon. Love you both.
Oh, how nice.
Absolutely. So, yeah, this is a really tough situation because, you know, we don't know the full extent of what's going on, what kind of contact you're having, if you're the only one reaching out. But if your partner is saying that they need space, you have to respect that.
Right. And that's the hard part, because there's nothing you can do.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think one of the biggest fears is that if you get broken up with and you leave them alone, you're afraid that they're going to think that you don't care about them.
Right.
And that if they think that you don't care about them, then they're not going to want you anymore. I think that's just one of those
so too.
overwhelming fears,
Yeah.
that I have to prove to them that I care. And especially if you weren't a good partner and you're looking back, really combing over your behavior and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't do this right, I neglected them, I abandoned them, I was mean to them.
I didn't listen.
All of those things will cause you to think, I have to reach out. I have to do something. I've got to show them that I care. I have to fight for them.
Right.
Okay?
I have to fight to get them back. I'm not just going to let this go.
And if you talk to your friends and family about the situation, they're probably going to tell you, oh, you got to win them back. You can't just let them go. You have to win them back. Well, that usually, and in most cases I'd say, makes your situation much worse. Because you're not respecting their decision. You're not allowing them to feel the full effect of their decision. Okay? They need to see what life is going to be like without you.
Right.
It's critical.
And it takes time for that to happen. When you feel so bad that you don't want to wait, you want to do something, and yet waiting can be the most constructive thing you can do.
Absolutely. Because you've got to let that person feel some separation anxiety from you.
Yes.
And they're not feeling it when they broke up with you. They're not feeling that right away like you are, because they had the power in the decision.
Right.
And so you feel like, well, I can't do anything here. And we're going to talk about that in another video. But it's important to understand that when your friends and family say fight for them, do something to win them back, a lot of times it's going to make your ex really mad and call the police on you, get a restraining order,
Right.
yell at you, they'll get really cold and angry and say, leave me alone. And instead of missing you, they're going to be pushing you away.
Right, and we see it happen all too often.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, no, your ex isn't going to move on if you leave them alone. If anything, it's going to allow them the time to think about what it's like to live without you. Which, when they made the decision, they were fine with that. They're saying, I can't continue to do this with you. I've got to end this relationship and move on with my life. So, they need to feel the consequences of if that's really what they want. If you just pester them, try and do grand gestures, send them a handwritten letter,
Flowers.
yeah, they know that they don't really have a consequence for what they've done here. And so you also want to look at your early childhood and your relationship.
Always you want to think about your relationship history. Yes.
Because Margaret and I were talking about this, you know, if in your childhood you didn't get a lot of love and attention from your parents, and maybe you were the one that had to maintain that connection with them, that's been your experience with relationships and love. And so in your romantic relationships, you're going to feel the same way.
The same way that you have to hold them, draw them in, get their attention, sure.
Like you have to be the glue.
Right. Beyond that, when you're thinking about will your partner forget you, you're feeling at your absolute lowest point, and maybe even you're feeling unlovable, which of course is not the case. But it's a hard time for you to say, well, they'll eventually remember how wonderful I am. But you do still need to say it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes during a breakup, your ex is going to sit there and say, you did X, Y, and Z wrong. And when you start to look at it, you're like, wow, I really did do X, Y, and Z wrong. How can they ever forgive me? How could they ever want to be with me when I did X, Y, and Z? But, you know, a lot of times when people are upset and emotional, X, Y, and Z feel really important. But give them some time and some space and some distance. They say to themselves, you know what? Even though they did X, Y, and Z, they did do A, B, and C, which I really liked. And so they start to say, you know what, all those things weren't as bad. But that doesn't happen right away.
Right. It takes time. And we're just saying we understand how difficult it is for you to sit at home and do not much except wait.
Yes.
But we do recommend that you work on yourself while you're waiting.
Absolutely. That is one of the most critical aspects of helping you repair your relationship. Because, you know, just going no contact is not going to correct the problem. And there are some coaches that's all they talk about over and over again because they don't have anything else that they can really educate you with. We're trying to teach you about all of these different things that you can improve upon and really make those long-lasting changes to better your chances of making that relationship work again. Because it's going to take work, it's going to take effort, it's going to take understanding, and all of you are coming from different places. All of you guys have had different life experiences, relationships with your parents, maybe you've had very difficult relationships with your parents or your caregivers, maybe you were adopted, you know, there's
all kinds of things, sure.
And so, depending upon what you've experienced is going to have a huge impact on your knowledge and your ability to create a healthy relationship in the present. And so if you look at all of the different areas that we teach, communication, understanding trauma, attachment styles, those are going to help you repair that relationship when you do get the opportunity.
Right.
Okay? So, just leaving your ex alone and, you know, not trying to repair it like you really instinctually want to do is not going to make the situation worse. They're not going to move on. Now, if they reach out to you and you ignore them, like some breakup coaches will
Yes.
tell you to do, that could make the relationship worse. That could make your situation worse, because if they are trying to repair it with you and you do nothing, then they're going to say, well, I guess they really don't care.
And we have heard that be recommended. We would not recommend that. If they reach out to you, by all means respond.
Absolutely. So, yes, you have to respect your partner and them asking for space, and give them the time to see what life is like without you. Because a lot of times you have done a lot of great things for that person, even though you're sitting there beating yourself up. You did a lot of good.
And what if they do quickly move on? What if they do take up with somebody else?
Well, that doesn't often last very long.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy. They believe that this new person is going to be so great, so amazing, and it very rarely leads to attachment. It's more like they're excited, it's fantasy, they like this new person, and then when they really get to know them, they're not that great at all.
And it takes a while, again, until the hormones calm down.
That's right, it really does. So in time, they will start to realize what life is like without you, and in that time, the best thing you can do is better yourself, better yourself, better yourself. Learn all the stuff that we teach. Do the coachings with us. We'll give you a plan. It's always helpful to have a plan.
Always.
And then, look at the workbooks that I have. They're fantastic. There's tons of different ways for you to grow as a person. Maybe look at getting yourself a local therapist as well. And when you get the opportunity, show them you're a much better option for them than you were.
How much growing you did. Show them how much growing you did and what a better option you are. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So I hope that helps calm your fears and helps you see a little bit more clearly the stuff that we see from our side of things. When you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching. I do Skype coaching. If you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. Margaret is also available for Skype coaching.
Yes, and you've been signing up, and that's great.
And you've been getting a lot of great feedback, I'll tell you that.
Yes, I have, yeah.
And remember to subscribe to the channel. Add me on Twitter. I do post a lot of fun things on there that I can't show you in the videos. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.